Welcome back, guys. This is Return to Tennis. I'm Aaron. Thanks for returning. What do we got for today? Well, the weather's kind of holding, so we're going to try to get out. We got a couple rackets we've been playing with a little bit, drills and whatnot. We're going to try them out. But the first one we're going to talk about today is something special. Well, I think it's something special. So recently, if you've been following the racket releases, recently Head released the new Prestige line. Looks very impressive. I'm actually very curious about it. And a part of what that was, they also released, or they reissued, the Head Prestige Classic. So now they have a Head Prestige Classic 2.0. It's a reissue. Supposed to play very similar to the original, have a very similar RA, weight, head shape, everything. So I was kind of curious, like, how did that racket play? Because, you know, some guys that I used to watch when I was younger played that frame. Marat Safin and Goran Ivanisevic being two of them. So instead of buying the brand new Prestige Classic 2.0 for $270, I'll let you know a secret. If you order it from Europe, it's cheaper, even with the shipping costs, if you order from Tennis Warehouse Europe. I instead went and found myself a Prestige Classic 600 original. Now, a couple things. This one, if you can see it, you can't see it very well. It's got some, oh, that's a little bit better. This one is designed in Austria. As near as I could figure out, there are three versions of this frame. There is a made in Austria, a designed in Austria, and now there is a made in China. So, of course, made in Austria is made in Austria, made in China is made in China. Designed in Austria, it seems might be a little different. I have two of them. This one's a little beat up, but it's not too bad a shape. The other one's actually in better condition than this one. Although I do have a whole new set of cap grommets I could swap out on this. I think they'll fit. So that would make it look a little better. But in any case, the designed in Austria versions, right, they're a little different. So from what I've been able to figure out, it seems that the ones that were designed in Austria were manufactured in Austria, but finished in Czechoslovakia. Now, to me, that means the hairpins were produced in Austria, and then they were sent over to Czechoslovakia, where they did things like grommets, pallet, grip, paint, stuff like that. I've also found out there's a couple different pallet systems for these. There's your standard pallet, and then there's something called a suspension grip. The suspension grips weren't popular. They may have been a mitigating factor in the frames actually warping. And to me, when I look at this, it seems slightly warped. My other one doesn't. My other one's also designed in Austria, but it's in better condition. When it was strung, even the stringer, when he looked at it, said, you know, he mentioned, he goes, does that look like there's something wrong with it? He's like, or is it just me? It might be slightly warped, unfortunately, but it still plays. I did have it out. I have hit it in drills. I've hit it in point play. I've hit serves with it. Plays phenomenally. Plays phenomenally. We're going to get out today. The weather's holding. We're going to get out and hit it a little bit on camera. Hopefully have a semi-decent session for you and not shank a ton of balls. It is a 93 square inch head, which is not totally true, but that's how it's listed. The 2.0 versions are also listed at 93s. They're not. So prior to 2013, Head measured all their head sizes on the outside. I just recently discovered this. So anything from about 2013 on is measured from the inside. So this, they say it's a 93. That's an outside measurement. The 2.0s are an outside measurement. It is actually 89.7 square inches. Not even 90, but it's close. I haven't played with anything this small. Even my old Kenix, when I started out as a freshman, was a 90 square. This is very close to that. So that's how they measured things up until 2013. So if you have a head racket that's prior to 2013, it's listed as a 98 square inch racket. It's not. It's more closer to a 95. This is actually 89.7. So it was 350 grams, thereabouts, 349. Too heavy for me. I took the leather grip off, put on a Wilson Feather Thin. It is now 331. That's a huge difference in weight. Now, of course, it did affect the balance. It is going to be a bit more head heavy than what it was meant to be, but it's at least at a weight that my arm can handle. So let's get outside. Let's hope the weather keeps holding, and let's check this out. Let's get it going, guys. We have the Prestige. Oh, not a good start there. So, odd weather. But of course, where I live here, it's Ohio. The weather is odd all the time. That wasn't bad. That was decent. Like, I come out here one week and the wind's actually blowing the opposite direction at the machine, so all the balls end up being short. Well, today the wind was with the machine, so now a bunch of them are shooting at me. So the balls that are kind of dead, they're coming out really nice and in a perfect setup, as opposed to really short. And then the balls that are newer are flying like almost out the back of the court. Made it a little difficult to figure things out. But no excuses there. That was a nice one. The Prestige Classic 600, late on that ball. I mean, it is classic. Very soft, plush, very controlled. A precise kind of weapon, not powerful by any means. This is why probably you had a lot of pros that played it back then. They would generate all their own power. They just needed the control. And there was good. Spins well. As I said, I've hit it in some point play, so I have hit serves with it. Serves were easily controlled. Almost pinpoint accuracy on serves. Now, this frame is technically just under, there's a nice one, just under 90 square inches, which is going to result in a really small sweet spot. Very difficult to dial in for me. This is a frame for, I would say, a much higher level player, someone who is a bit more consistent in their contact point in the string bed. Nice two-hander. I've discovered a lot of times I'm hitting two-handers when I'm catching the ball early on the rise. I feel a little crowded, so instead of trying to back way up into the back court to let that ball drop in, I just two-hand them and take them early. And sometimes it works out for me, sometimes it doesn't. But it is a really fun racket to hit, and it is extremely comfortable. Not a lot of power, but if you catch it dead center, it has good pop, produces really good pace. So it's the availability of power is there if you're a higher level player. Me, I'm not that level of player anymore. I used to play rackets this small when I was young, but having been out of the game for over 2 decades and trying to come back, this is not a good racket for me right now, although I do appreciate how it hits, how it feels, and how much control I have with it. It reminds me a lot of my Astuza or my Puma. It is that similar era where the racket had a lot of mass in the frame, handled vibration very well, had a excellent control, but at the same time had a lot of pop when you caught it clean. Very much kind of a pro player stick, advanced level player probably. Someone 5.0 and above would really enjoy this racket. I enjoy it. I'm just not a consistent enough player to play well with it. I'm sitting probably at about a 50-50 percentile on my success of strokes. We got a little bit of a rhythm going there, though. Starting to hit some oh, there we go. I spoke too soon. There we go. Volleys well, although I do find it a little, because of its flex, it's very flexible. It's like a 59 RA, I think, is where it kind of sets on the original frame. I find it trouble with it at the net because it gives a lot. So on volleys, I have to be very cognizant of my position and how much force I'm putting into the volley, because if I don't, it kind of dies in the net on me. And at the same time, if I overcompensate too much and catch it dead center, I will send the ball out the back of the court on the volley. Or the blocking volleys especially, I struggled. When I was doing this in drills, I was popping a lot of blocking volleys out the back of the court, trying to basically compensate for its lack of power. But man, is it a nice feeling racket. Something I do really enjoy hitting. It's going to stay in my bag because it is fun to pull out and hit. Trying to get used to the idea of not hitting two-handed forehands on the rise with deep balls. I'm trying to work it into where I can hit one-handed, but I just can't get the same drive. Ugh, right off the bottom of the frame. That's, that small head size, it really hurts me. In any case, guys, the new Prestige Classic 2.0s are available. You can get them at a variety of vendors online. I would recommend, if you can make it happen, get them from Tennis Warehouse in Europe. You'll probably save yourself about $30. You buy them here in the States, you're paying $270 plus tax, which I don't know where you're at, but tax for me would run me about almost $20. So I'm up at $290. You can get them from Europe for about $240. Even with shipping, that's $20 shipping. You're paying $260. Save yourself about $30 buying out of Europe. I don't know why they do that, but it is what it is. So there's your options. But until next time, guys, get out, play some tennis, get off the couch, get on the courts, and hopefully where you're at, the weather is still holding like it is for me. We'll see you again soon.